Ben Sebastian here, curator of the Sonic Symphonic podcast, composer of the Kalasin series of albums. Here today with an EP review. Let's go and check out the artist. So, William Mace, aka Razortick, a musician that's been going about for some time, starting on mp3.com in 1997, and in 2006 he was featured on garageband.com's front page with his former side project Razortick, and he's been going ever since. The guy has kind of opened up and said a little bit to me about, not doing so well in education and suffering from what he described as a schizophrenic episode, and this has led to long-term struggles with mental health. So this is something that I support. I support anyone who has, whether you've got troubles, traumas, self-regulation issues, and mental disorders, and everything in between. This is something I advocate, and that is using your music as a way of surpassing the vicissitudes of life. I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, and I stick by it. But onto the music, he's released an album, or sorry, an EP called Free, as part of a series, because there is a 2 EP and a 1 EP. Looking at his Spotify is quite well populated. I didn't count them beforehand. Perhaps I should have done. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. About 18, 19 releases in there. So there's plenty to get into if you like this stuff. Free EP was, as I say, is his most recent release. Let's have a look at the release date. So that was released on May the 4th, so this month. Very brand new. It features it features 6 tracks, but essentially they're 3 tracks. You've got 3 sort of regular versions, and then you have 3 instrumental versions. So I think what I'm going to do is, obviously I'm going to play through the entire 3 EP. This is a 3-track selection, and it being a 3-track EP, also named Free, it stands to reason that we do all 3. But we're going to start with the instrumental called Goatman. Okay, certainly an unusual piece. Razortick sort of describes himself as sort of gothic metal. I haven't listened to much of his back catalogue, so I can only go on this one track. So, okay, there's some gothic tones in there. This is very kind of more the avant-garde side of thing, and occasionally I get stumped with one of these styles of reviews, and here I am today. What I will say, which I enjoyed about Goatman, in case of a little sort of like tribal sort of drum rhythm, I kind of like that idea. I like the pace of that with the slower sort of choir element, and that combination of the choir element, that very deep, sort of grunchy, gritty bass, and then the I can't think of the name, but that says it was ethnic, sort of like fluty type thing, being all chaotic up in the treble range. I quite kind of like that. I like that image. I like that combination. It evoked this sort of imagery, and it's actually going to be something that I'm going to play around with in one of my compositions that I've kind of got cooking, and because So you've already, it's a winner because it's evoked an idea, and this is one thing that I will say, and this applies to music, this applies everywhere. You know, always lean into the edge of the knife. I never know what I'm going to get sent. I never know what I'm going to enjoy or what I might dislike, but being able to sort of lean into it and go on, I suppose, what is for me just quite a simple path of discovery, but there's always something to be learned from everyone. There's always a nuance or something you go, okay, I hadn't thought of all of that. I mean, sure, I've used sort of deep bass and choirs and ethnic instruments, but you know, perhaps more harmoniously than Goatman has presented. So I've picked up a new idea. So I'm quite liking the instrumental vibe, but obviously, in fairness to the artist, I will do the vocal track. But on the basis of the sound structure alone, I'm going to roll into the second track, which is called Round 3, and yeah, I'm gonna take the instrumental preference here. I'm clearly listening with musician ears. So let's just bowl straight into that. Yeah, this one for me was a little bit more difficult. But he likes his rhythm sections, and I like his ability of rhythm. It's almost something sort of tribal about these two pieces, and the way the sort of the drums and the percussion have been handled. Not a huge fan of the guitar sort of sounding tones. They're a little bit sort of 1990s dial-up modem for me, which is a shame because the sort of dissonance between your bass registers and your treble registers, that kind of works, and it's the drum patterning that kind of glues that all together. Of course, this is a more of an avant-garde project, and this is just generally how it seems to me that they sound, and I am only one human, I am only one brain, and I obviously approach this, you know, with my own musical sort of bias, but there is something there. But for me, some of those guitar tones in the made just I don't know, it interfered with the dissonance, which would have been more dissonant and more effective, perhaps if they were reduced to a lower level, or if they came sort of in and out on the volume side of things. I don't know. I'm not an expert. It's just my thoughts. But the two tracks certainly give us an insight into Razortick's creative mind, it's any sort of art or endeavour is to be celebrated, and in fact, actually, before it to be celebrated, it needs to be invested in, and it needs to be sort of done from within. It needs to be created, as Razortick sort of explained to me in his bio with some of his struggles through the years with schizophrenia. I think it's certainly, you know, laudable that he is producing something, and I'm sure that it is in some way healing. So who are we to kind of put any comment, try to put it in any box, or try to critique it too much or unfairly? So now, the grand unveiling, we're going to play the third track, which is called Dead Hand, and it actually features vocals. So let's go.
I walked into the labyrinth. I saw the old golden goblet. The stars shone in the sky. My devil has to pay on nights like this. One way, one day, one mission. Firing on the piston, the corrosion of the fingers. I bleed out gasoline from the nails, driven under my frozen stiff hand. Blood clots and slip knots. Awoken the demon fist. 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 Dead hand. 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 The cards dealt black, and the blood in my veins was white. Gasoline purified the flames of my dead hand. Walking into the fire, the blood boiling desire to cut the blade with my fists. One way, one day, one mission. Firing the piston, the corrosion of the fingers. I bleed out gasoline from the nails, driven under my frozen stiff hand, blood clots, slip knots, awoken the demon fist, 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 awoken the demon fist. Dead hand, 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 dead hand. I walk into the labyrinth. I saw the golden goblet. The stars shone in the sky. My devil has to pay a night like this. One way, one day, one mission. Firing the piston, the corrosion of the fingers. I bleed out gasoline from my nails. Driven under my frozen stiff hand. Blood clots and slip knots. Awoken the demon fist. 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 Dead hand. 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 Dead hand.
Wow, that was certainly unusual, certainly unconventional. And okay, initially it was a bit of a cacophony, but it kind of sort of like pulled together. There wasn't huge amounts of musical differences between the sort of I think it was like 3 sort of verse choruses, kind of sort of structure. But for some reason I was able to have much more fun with the track as we went along. You may have noticed. I quite like that dead hand kind of idea, and the pace just sort of keep going. Yeah, if I was if it was me doing this track, you know, maybe sort of knock the timing into regularity, because I didn't know when the next dead or the next hand was going to come in. It was all slightly off and chaotic, but you know that's the beauty about this style of work. You can just sort of kind of, you know, it's its own thing, and he's done his own thing, and he's done it remarkably well. This is not the sort of thing I'm going to be putting on at a tea party. I'm not entirely sure if I'd go and watch 2 hours of this kind of music, you know, at a gig or something. But I've been sort of proved, I've been challenged here today because I ultimately had fun. Regardless of the vocal definitely has an identity, and it's quite a strong one, and it kind of induces you to have fun. So, you know what, I actually quite enjoyed this. This was not what I was expecting, and but it wasn't a struggle. I've kind of, yeah. And so the guy's full of little ideas that I quite like. So and hey, you know, William, just like keep cracking on with it. This, you know, and I wish you the very best of success with it. If you guys liked what you heard and you had fun like I did, then I'm going to put these links below. Go and check out his Spotify. He's got a blog as well, Twitter, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, get supportive. And that's about all I've got here. So hope you enjoyed the video. My link tree is below. Yes, I've actually managed to point the right way when on camera. Yeah, check out some of my stuff and see what you think, or more review videos. Always happy to be here introducing you to new sounds and music.